All right, we are live. So, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today, we are going to talk about Ayzada's admission journey to KAIST University. KAIST is one of the top institutions, technological institutions in Korea and in the world. It is very highly ranked and a week or two ago, Ayzada got in with a fully funded scholarship. So we've been celebrating this occasion, and now we would like to host a webinar about it so that many people get also informed about the admission procedure, requirements, and other stuff regarding the KAIST. Yeah. Assalomu alaykum barchaga. Bugungi webinarimizga xush kelibsizlar. Bugungi webinarimizda KAISTga kirish haqida ma'lumot berib o'tamiz va bu ma'lumotni bizning mehmonimiz bugungi Ayzada Baymuratova aytib o'tadilar. Ayzada bu Globe Study'da ancha vaqtdan beri уже student bo'lib kelyaptilar. Ayzada Globe Study akselerator a'zosi edilar. Вот. И bugun o'z admission journey-lari haqida aytib o'tadilar. Ayzada, siz shu yerdami? Are you here, Ayzada? Can you please confirm if we can continue?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hey. Okay, before you start, let me just say a few words. Tak, boshlashdan oldin yana bir aytib o'taman. Ayzada ingliz tilida gapirib beradilar barcha proses haqida. Aynan o'sha narsani men har bir slayddan keyin o'zbekchada qisqacha perevod qilib o'taman. Agar savollar bo'lsa, iltimos savollaringizni chatda qoldirishingiz mumkin webinar davomida. Atak webinar oxirida примерно 10 minut 15 minut vaqt bo'ladi shtob savollarni so'rash uchun. Хорошо? So webinar will be in English and there will be translated version of it in Uzbek as well. Please save your questions until the end of webinar, or you can leave them in the chat. Okay, so this webinar will be recorded completely and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. All right, thank you very much. Ayzada, now you can slowly start. You can first introduce yourself and then talk about the processes and about the slides you prepared. Thank you very much.
So, hi everyone. As you know, my name is Ayzada. I study at Presidential School in Locos, and recently I've been invited to KAIST University. And today we're going to talk about the university itself, admission, and about scholarship. So, in today's webinar, we're going to talk about the university itself and the KAIST scholarship, and the graduate admission, my status, and at the end of the webinar, you can ask questions. So, about the university, it's a national research university located in Daejeon. It is ranked 41st in KAIST ranking of universities, and during the freshman year, students go undeclared major, so they can choose their major in the second course, and all the lectures are in English, and Korean language is not required for admission, but at the end of the fourth year you should have, I think, topic 4 in order to graduate. So there are 5 colleges, as you can see here, and you can find more about the colleges and departments, majors, using the link.
Tak, Ayzada o'zlari Nukusdan bo'ladilar va u kishi hozirda prezidentskiy maktabda o'qib kelyaptilar 11-sinfda. Yaqinda KAISTga kirdilar. KAIST bu Koreyaning, Janubiy Koreyaning Daejeon shahridagi research tadqiqot universiteti hisoblanadi va dunyoda 41-o'rinda turadi. KAISTga agar kirsangiz agar siz birinchi yili o'zingiz majoringizni aytmaysiz. To есть birinchi yil kirganda siz xohlagan predmetlarni o'qisangiz bo'ladi. Birorta majorsiz, yo'nalishsiz. Keyin ikkinchi kurs bo'lganingizda, to есть ikkinchi yil davomida siz birorta majorni to есть yo'nalishni tanlab дальше o'sha yo'nalish bo'yicha ketishingiz mumkin. KAISTda turli xil kollejlar bor. Kollej bu degani fakultet примерно o'zbek tilida aytganda. То есть universitet ichida примерно 5 tami 6 ta fakulteti bo'ladi. Masalan, biznes fakulteti, injineriya fakulteti, biologiya fakulteti и так далее. Bu ma'lumotlar haqida mana bu havola orqali o'tib ko'proq o'rganishingiz mumkin. Next, please.
So about the application timeline, there are 3 application cycles for fall and spring semesters. You can apply in the early or regular application timeline. Early timeline starts from September 1st and ends. Deadline is October 22nd. Regular application cycle starts on November 8th and the deadline is 14th January. I applied using regular timeline, and there is also late timeline application cycle, and the deadline is May 30th.
KAISTga topshirish uchun 3 ta deadline sikli bor. Birinchisi bu sentyabrda boshlanadi. Sentyabrdagi deadline bilan siz birdan bahorgi semestrga topshirishingiz mumkin. То есть sentyabrga agar topshiraman desangiz agar siz tanlashingiz mumkin yoki bahorga yoki kelasi yil sentyabrga topshirishingiz mumkin o'qishga. Regular deadline bor. Aynan mana shu regular deadline bo'yicha Ayzadani o'zlari topshirdilar va kirdilar. Mana yaqinda yana oxirgi deadline bor. То есть 3-sikl. Bu late decision deyiladi. Вот late decisionda siz to 27 maygacha topshirishingiz mumkin. Вот.
Yeah, and the late application deadline is still open if you want to apply. And about the application process, you can submit the documents using the online application form and fill in the required fields about your basic school, your basic information, and after you have filled all the fields, you have to pay $80 of application fee, and after that you can access the document submission page where you can upload your documents. You can also pay the fee using bank transfer, but you have to take the verification or fund receivable into account. It takes 3 to 7 days. And you can also send the hard copies of the application materials using the address in the official site. And KAIST does not contact you individually if you have any missing documents, and your status will be incomplete. And interview is not required for all applicants, and applicants can be contacted through email if interview is necessary.
То есть agar KAISTga topshiraman desangiz agar quyidagi protsessdan o'tishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Birinchi navbatda siz online application to'ldirishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Online application saytida bor. O'shani to'ldirib siz application fee degan narsasi bor. То есть sizni hujjatlaringizni tekshirishi uchun KAISTdagi nimalar professorlar siz ularga $80 miqdorida application fee to'lashingiz kerak bo'ladi. Buni siz kredit karta yoki bank orqali to'lashingiz mumkin. Online applicationni mana shu application fee to'lagandan keyin yuborasiz va yuborgandan keyin дополнительный dokumentlar yuborishingiz mumkin. Qo'shimcha dokumentlar masalan recommendation bo'lishi mumkin yoki agar birorta hujjatlaringiz yuborish esdan chiqqan bo'lsa agar o'shalarni ham yuborishingiz mumkin. Вот. KAISTda intervyu bo'lishi mumkin. Intervyu bo'lsa agar sizga ular sразу email orqali xabar berishadi. Next please.
So in the online application, you fill information about your extracurricular activities, and there are 4 essays which are mandatory to from 200 to 300 words each, and 1 essay is optional. And you should also fill information about your recommendation letter, about your recommender, and test scores. And you can access the samples of application forms and essay questions using the link.
Tak, onlayn application ichida siz quyidagi narsalar haqida ma'lumot berishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Birinchi navbatda maktabdan tashqari qanaqa mashg'ulotlar bilan shug'ullanganingiz haqida, masalan, birorta repetitorlik bo'ladimi yoki ish bo'lishi mumkin yoki liderskiy kayfiyat ko'rsatgan narsalar bo'lishi mumkin. O'shalar haqida aytib o'tishingiz mumkin. Plus 4 ta essay yozish kerak bo'ladi, 4 ta insho то есть. Har bitta insho 200 tadan to 300 tagacha so'z bo'lishi mumkin har bittasi. Plus bitta optional, то есть istakka qarab yozishingiz mumkin. Undan tashqari o'zingizni topshirgan testlaringiz haqida, imtihonlaringiz haqida, masalan IELTS, SAT hamda recommendation, то есть sizni kim tavsiya qilishi haqida ham ma'lumot qo'yishingiz kerak bo'ladi.
So after you pay the application fee and filled out the online application form and paid the fee, you will have access to the document submission page where you can submit the following documents. High school profile, which is optional, and high school or university transcript of the last 3 years. English proficiency test report, it can be IELTS or TOEFL. I'm not sure about Duolingo. And it's also optional. And standardized official test score report. It's also optional. And passport or national ID copy. Statement of financial resources. You should submit original and the translated version in 1 copy. And honors and awards up to 5, which is also optional.
Tak, application bilan birga siz quyidagi hujjatlarni topshirishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Ushbu hujjatlarning ichidan majburiy va optional degan hujjatlari bor. Majburiy hujjatlarga bu sizni kollejda yoki to есть maktabda hozir o'qiyotganlaringiz haqida baholaringiz va confirmation kerak bo'ladi. Plus English proficiency test, to есть IELTS shu yili optional deb qo'yilgan, to есть siz IELTS yoki TOEFL degan testlarni topshirishingiz majburiy emas, xohishingizga, istagingizga qarab. Pasport majburiy, lekin pasportni yuborish kerak. Plus eng oxirgi narsa bu statement of financial resources, to есть o'zingizni finansoviy sredstwlaringiz haqida ma'lumot berishingiz kerak bo'ladi bank orqali. Next please.
About the recommendation letter, you can only submit 1 recommendation letter, and it should be written by academic advisor, homeroom teacher, or math or science teacher. And it should be in English or Korean. And it can only be submitted electronically. In the online application form, you fill in the recommender information, and they will get the link to submit the recommendation, and they will have 7 days after the application deadline to submit the recommendation. And it's very important that you enter the recommender email correct, because you cannot edit the application after you pay the fee.
Okay. Recommendation bitta majburiy topshirish kerak bo'ladi. Ushbu recommendation sizni o'qituvchingizdan yoki akademический advisordan topshirilishi mumkin. Bu xat yoki koreyskiy tilda yoki ingliz tilida bo'lishi kerak bo'ladi. Recommendation beradigan odam haqida siz ma'lumot qo'yishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Ushbu ma'lumot o'sha odam haqida, то есть ismi, masalan, qaysi ishda ishlaydi, qayerda joylashgan va eng muhimi bu email. То есть emailini siz to'g'ri ko'rsatish kerak bo'ladi, chunki topshirgandan keyin aynan o'sha ko'rsatgan emailingizga havola yuboriladi va o'sha havoladan recommender upload qilishi mumkin bo'ladi. Вот.
So this is a general overview of the documents and how to submit them and if they are optional or mandatory.
Da, ushbu rasmda siz barcha kerakli hujjatlar va narsalarning ro'yxatini ko'rishingiz mumkin. Agar xohlasangiz screenshot qilib olishingiz mumkin. Bu juda ham foydali ma'lumot. Bu yerda siz sразу ko'rishingiz mumkin qaysi birini fayl qilib jo'natish kerak va qaysi birini onlayn to'ldirib jo'natish kerak. Qaysi birlari majburiy va optional ekanligi haqida ham ko'rishingiz mumkin. Bu hujjatlar haqida hozirgina aytib o'tdik, barchasi haqida. Atak screenshot qilib olishingiz mumkin. Juda ham kerakli ma'lumot bu.
So about the scholarships, there is KAIST International Student Scholarship, which doesn't require a separate application process. So you can just click the KAIST scholarship while you are applying, and you will be automatically considered for the scholarship. And if you get admitted, you will automatically get the scholarship. So it covers the full tuition fee, living expenses. So they will give 350,000 Korean wons per month, and it covers health insurance. And the requirement is students must maintain the GPA of over 2.7 after freshman year.
Da. KAISTda scholarship bor. To есть scholarship bu finansiy grant degani. Вот. Ushbu grantni siz agar ushbu grantni olmoqchi bo'lsangiz agar отдельно application to'ldirish shart emas. Shunchaki topshirgan paytda siz KAIST scholarship degan joyda check qo'yishingiz kerak, to есть птичка. Вот o'sha narsani qilgandan keyin siz avtomatik applicationingiz o'sha scholarshipga ham boradi. Agar olsangiz agar ushbu scholarship kontraktni to'liq qoplab beradi. Undan tashqari sizga oyiga 350,000 koreyskiy won taqdim etadi va медицинские страховка, insurance to есть. Lekin bu scholarshipni agar siz сохранить qilib qo'ymoqchi bo'lsangiz agar, to есть har semestr olmoqchi bo'lsangiz agar, siz kamida 4.3 dan 2.7 GPA ni saqlab qo'yishingiz kerak.
Yeah. And about my status of application, to get an overview of a successful applicant, I have IELTS 7.5 and SAT 1450, and my GPA is 5 out of 5. And I'm taking A-levels, 3 A-levels, and my scores are A-star, A, and A. I indicated that my field of interest is computer science, but this is not mandatory and it doesn't play a role at all, as you don't have to choose major in your freshman year. And I uploaded 5 honors and awards and extracurricular activities.
Ushbu slaydda siz Ayzada haqida ma'lumot olishingiz mumkin. To есть Ayzada qanday qilib KAISTga kirganlari haqida. Ayzada kirishlari uchun quyidagi narsalarni qilganlar. Birinchidan IELTS olganlar 7,5. SAT imtihoni ham topshirganlar va undan 1450 olganlar. Maktabdagi GPA'lari, to есть средний оценкалari 5 dan 5. Undan tashqari esa A-level degan kurslar bor, spetsialni. Bu kurslar menimcha hozirda faqat prezidentskiy maktablarda nima qilinadi, provided. Atak A-level kurslaridan Ayzada A baholar olganlar olishini kutyaptilar. Qiziqqan nimalari, yo'nalishlari computer science bo'ladi va bu uchun u kishi 5tagacha honors va awards, to есть yutuqlari haqida ma'lumot berganlar hamda extracurriculars, to есть maktabdan tashqari nimalar qilganlari haqida ham ma'lumot yetkazganlar. Вот.
Yeah. And you can access the full application guide or PDF version using this link.
Так,
And,
да, в общем, так, смотрите, KAIST haqidagi mana shu barcha materiallar, ushbu slayd va boshqa kerakli narsalar bizni Telegram kanalimizga jo'natiladi. Telegram kanalimizning ssilkasini men hozir yuborib qo'yaman chatda ko'rishlaringiz mumkin. Atak YouTube'da video bo'lsa agar, YouTube'dagi videoni ko'rayotgan bo'lsanglar, тогда YouTube'dagi videoni tagida description, то есть описаниесida topishlaringiz mumkin Telegram kanaliga ssilkani. O'sha kanalda aynan biz KAISTga tegishli barcha hujjatlar, то есть application materiallar va ushbu slaydni yuborib qo'yamiz. Xo'p. Так, endi navbatni savollarga beramiz va savollarga bizda примерно 5 daqiqa bor. Agar savollaringiz bo'lsa agar, marhamat, barcha savollaringizni so'rashlaringiz mumkin. Men hozir birinchi chatni ochaman. Chatda menimcha bittagina savol turibdi hozircha. Так, chatdagi savolni Globstudy akselerator qachon grant e'lon qiladi? Так, Globstudy akselerator iyul oyida boshlanadi. O'tgan yilgidek iyul oyigacha iltimos kutishingizni iltimos qilamiz. Atak iyun oxirida, to есть iyun oxirida biz qabul haqida ma'lumot beramiz. Akseleratorga qanday qabul qilishingiz mumkinligi haqida. Вот, atak programma o'zi esa iyul oyida ochiladi. Вот. Так, Bahodir Aliqulov, da savol so'ramoqchisiz menimcha. Mikrofoningizni bemalol yoqib savol so'rashingiz mumkin. Da.
So hello, Miss Ayzada. I'm planning to also apply to KAIST this year, and what scores or what skills I need to apply, like SAT or IELTS, and even can you give your contacts if it's not private? I will to discuss with you further information, please.
Okay. So about test scores, as I said, English proficiency test score is not mandatory. You can either upload or not upload, and SAT is also optional this year. And I already told about my application status, and I can share my contacts in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Want to
Yes, or even just email if it's not private.
Well, yes, you can contact Globstudy in order to find out information about the stuff that you asked. But yeah, as Ayzada told already, you can apply this year because SAT is not required. It was usually required. Yeah. So deadline is, I think it should be May 20 or something. Yeah.
But what about next year? Because I'm freshman at Lyceum currently, that's why I'm planning to apply it the next year, like in the regular.
For the next year, well, we
Yes.
are not very much sure about that because KAIST does have that information, and we are not sure if they will have the same policy, the same testing policy for the next year. But we, as admission counselors, we would highly recommend you to take the IELTS test and, if possible, SAT test because they will show a lot more about your academic abilities than your GPA or other stuff. If you have SAT, it's internationally recognized, So looking at your SAT, they can approximately tell how well you can succeed at academically challenging curriculum such as at KAIST. Yeah.
So, and the major is optional for the first year, so it's not necessary yet
Well,
for
yeah,
choosing.
you don't have to choose the major, but it's still recommended to, at least say something about your interest, because you cannot apply, without any kind of interest. You cannot apply with some empty motivational letter in which you can say, I'm not interested in anything. I just want to enroll and see what I can do. Yeah, we would really recommend you to uh, start thinking about the major, start thinking about what your future career could be. At least you need to determine which field or industry you would like to go for. Yeah, that would really help a lot and make you stand out from other candidates. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
Okay. Так, Bahodir hozirgina qabul qilish jarayoni haqida umumiy savollar aytib o'tdilar. Bu savollar SAT va IELTS haqida edi. Basamnom. Bizning javobimiz shu ediki, Toshba, SAT va IELTS shu yili trебовать qilinmaydi, то есть majburiy emas. Lekin kelasi yilga majburiy bo'lishi mumkin. Bu narsa esa faqat KAISTda bor, bu ma'lumot. Вот. Хорошо. Yeah, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. We have a few minutes left until the end of this webinar. Okay, I presume we do not have many questions this time. But the thing is that, well, I'm going to give a couple of top tips for applying to KAIST. And then I will give the mic to Ayzada for final thoughts. Basically, if you are thinking about applying to KAIST University, the first thing you should know is that KAIST is science and technological institution. So they really prefer students who would like to go for STEM career, who would like to go for science, technology, engineering, and math majors. So if you have interest in any of these fields, then you could be a good fit. But to really be accepted, you have to do more than that. So in order to get accepted or to be at least considered as a good ideal candidate for the KAIST University, you need to have English test score. You're preferred to have for this year, but for the next year, you will be required to have English proficiency test scores such as IELTS or TOEFL. In addition to that, you're also encouraged to have SAT. You're encouraged to take the SAT test or ACT test because if you're coming from a regular school curriculum or background, then that school will not tell much information about your academic capabilities. And in order to show what you're capable of, academically speaking, then we would really suggest that you should take SAT or ACT test. All right. And the third thing you need to be really careful about when applying to KAIST is essays. KAIST has 4 mandatory essay prompts plus 1 optional essay question. We would highly suggest that you should answer all of these questions with a careful thought. You need to start writing those essays as early as possible. Yeah, start as early as possible because you will have to revise, rewrite over and over many times. You will have to rewrite your essays many times. Well, from our experience, Ayzada can confirm that. Ayzada personally, she had to write her essay and revise it many times before applying. So I would really, yes, recommend you to start as early possible and to start writing your essays. And the last thing I would really recommend or give as advice would be as determined as possible about your career and about the major that you want to go for. Because being specific and being, very determined about what you want to study and why you want to study and who you want to become in the future will help you a lot for the admission officer to learn about you, to evaluate your application more properly, and to see if you're a real good fit to their university. Again, as I've mentioned already, KAIST is a STEM-based institution. It's STEM-based research institute. So you need to really get prepared for that and prove that you are academically capable of succeeding at KAIST. Yes. So these would be my final tips. Ayzada, if you have some advice for future students for the next year or this year, please feel free to share a couple of tips, and then we can end this webinar. Yeah, thank you.
I think you summed up all the things very nicely, but one more thing is that, for example, optional essays or optional honors and awards are called optional, but if you submit them, it really shows that you're academically fit and you can stand out among other candidates. Yeah, that's all.
All right, yeah, I got your point. Yeah, when university says it's optional, it means it's really necessary. It's really important for them. Okay, that's a trick. Yeah, if you see something optional, go and do that. All right, because university expects you to do that. Yeah, if you don't do that, well, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily underlooked or something like that. It's just that if you fill out those optional things and if you send those optional documents, you really show that you care about that university and that you really want to get admitted. Okay, so that's the final tip by Ayzada. And yes, if you don't have any questions left, well, thank you all for coming. Oybek Jorabayev, you asked a question about academic background of Ayzada. Yes, of course, we are sorry about putting this at the time that's very inconvenient for you first, but we have recorded this webinar, so you can go to our YouTube channel in a couple of hours and watch this whole webinar, the recording version of it, and you can find out about her academic background. All right, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody for staying, for coming today. We hope that this webinar was very useful to you, and we hope that you will be attending our future webinars. And I personally wish Ayzada great luck, success at her future endeavors at KAIST. Well, studying at KAIST is not as easy as you think. It's really challenging. You have to be prepared academically and personally as well, because it's one of the top technological institutions, again, of the world. If you're studying there, you should feel privileged. You should feel different. And that's who Ayzada is. Yes, she is different. And I wish her great success in her future studies at KAIST. Yeah. And thank you very much, Ayzada, for your time. And thank you, everybody else. And this is the end of our webinar. Yeah. See you very soon. Bye-bye.